I am a huge sports fanatic, and I was following in bits and pieces what happened in the Soccer World Cup. But what got me more excited was that small game of tennis that happened in the background, the Wimbledon. Some of you may or may not have followed that, but that's the focus of today's word, tennis. I want to use the game of tennis as a metaphor for life because there are many similarities to life, and I find them tremendously empowering. So obviously we know sport of tennis, you've all heard the saying, game, set, match. So sport of tennis is divided into a series of games which build up to make a set, and the one who wins the most amount of sets wins the match. Now, I have a mentor who says, the match ain't over until I win. The match is your life. The games, the sets are periods and pockets within your life that build up to this match of life. Now, the beautiful thing about you being on this court, this arena, is you determine what success is. You define what success is. Yes, there are a few parameters, acting with an integrity, respecting people around you, but ultimately, what does success mean to you? How do you determine whether you are ahead or you not ahead? How do you know that you're winning? How do you get that feeling of, yes, I'm winning at this? Or, I kind of feel sucky because things aren't going well. What isn't going well? And it ain't going well in your mind because you're comparing what is with what you think should be. What should be? Have you written it down? What is that thing? Now, there are a few lessons I take, and 3 lessons in particular from the sport of tennis, this match. 1, it's generally an individual sport. You'd find at the end of a game or a set, the players all sit on the side of the court and they're given time to have a drinks break. At that time, they are obviously reflecting on what worked, what didn't work. They've sometimes lost or won a set. And no matter what, they still have to come back and still play the match. They get to reflect on what's worked and what's not worked, but most importantly, they can't go back and blame the umpire, blame the coach and ask the coach to play on their behalf. They have to get back into the game. And many times we have to get back into the game. So if sometimes something hasn't worked for you, remember this, even your darkest hour is still 60 minutes. That too shall pass. Number 2, which I find even more empowering, is the fact that every time you watch a match, they always pan in on a coach. There's always someone on the sidelines backing them. Who's in your corner? Who's giving you perspective? Have you ever heard the saying that you can't see the picture if you're in the frame? So you think your serve is great. You think, I'm killing this, I'm great. But sometimes it helps to have someone who's seen beyond that, who's been where you are, who gives you perspective as to say, maybe you could work on that, or maybe you're doing that quite well, and harness that. 3rd key thing is work on your strengths as opposed to fixing your weaknesses. Many players are renowned for having one particular strength and one thing they do very well. Roger Federer, it's his backhand. Everyone knows him for that backhand. Sometimes you have coaches, psychologists, etc., who focus on fixing things, whereas it's more important to work on what makes you feel good first. Ever heard the saying, nothing succeeds quite like success? So if you work on your strengths, work on what you're good at, define that, work on it, and then in the background start working on your weaknesses, you come from a better feeling place as opposed to being bogged down with, I need to fix this, I'm not good enough, I need to fix this and that. Start with what you're good at. Then start working on what you are, what your perceived weaknesses are. The match ain't over until you win. You define what winning is in this match. Your words are incredibly powerful. Use them wisely. Cheers.